All right, today we're jumping into Audius and the big moves that they're making with TikTok. This is going to be fun. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back to Tech Path. And of course, here in the seat, Lisa Francoeur.
As always,
yes.
We're the dynamic duo. We're going to get into it today. Speaking of dynamic, this Audius TikTok partnership. What are your thoughts?
I like it. Let's go to the first story here over on Decrypt. They said and kind of covered this. Basically, the token is up 90% following this partnership. So a big move there. And, you know, they've had some, Audius has been one of those projects we've talked a little bit about here on the show before, but it hasn't had a lot of moves.
Yep.
And this was really one of the first projects that they did. So doubled in less a day when you look at this. You can kind of take that, new features, it's going to be artists taking their tracks to TikTok, one click kind of thing.
I mean,
You're
let's
into
be
music.
honest. Of course. Let's be honest. First of all, this is the first partnership of its kind.
Yep.
Second of all, TikTok has over 1 billion monthly subscribers. And although neither platform are paying artists royalties, the exposure is going to just increase their fan base. I mean, that's what it's designed to do. So this is really exciting for artists and both platforms alike.
Yeah. In brief, there was some interesting things here that it was kind of looking at. One is the streaming music service. It's not like a SoundCloud, but I think that's what they're trying to get to at some point, where artists will be going in this direction. But I think this is going to open up some very interesting angles for Audius being in the TikTok space with the functionality of a lot of other of these kind of plug-in products that TikTok is kind of making available to their user base, which is going to be interesting to kind of tie blockchain into this for sure.
I mean, I think that they're onto something, and the platform, Audius, has over 100,000 musicians, including Skrillex. So this is a very exciting partnership, and I have a feeling that you will continue to see a surge as more artists join the platform and take advantage of the exposure that they'll get on TikTok.
This was the press release on TikTok's website, basically share sounds and logins with TikTok. And let me kind of explain, when you think about native logins like this, it's much like what Facebook and Twitter, they call OAuth, where you might be on another platform and it says log in with Google, log in with Facebook, log in, et cetera. That's kind of where this is going. And when you look at some of the projects, they did this thing called SoundKit. So here it is. Allows creators and artists to bring original sounds and music from third-party apps.
Yep.
So you'll be able to interface directly into TikTok, your third-party app, whether you're creating music, kind of like what Musical.ly was before it became, and then move it right into TikTok and be able to utilize it right there. So that's kind of cool.
And that seamless transition, when you're fostering interoperability, that helps increase the number of
especially
folks.
with content.
Exactly right. And so that seamless process, I think, is going to bode very, very well for Audius. And let's be honest, when you know somebody who knows somebody, you can broker deals like that.
Yes, exactly.
The TikToks of the world.
Yeah. So this is the list of third-party apps that are going to be integrating with SoundKit so far, helping their users basically share audio creations. So you got Audio Bridge. We'll kind of go back and forth here. Audio Bridge, a simple mobile track recording studio in your pocket. So you just a place to kind of do it with mobile.
You've got Rap Chat, the leading app for hip-hop artists.
There you go.
Boom.
Yordio, create your chat, your unique soundtracks. Again, just 3 steps. I thought these were kind of cool. They also built a platform for creators to share their work and get inspired, called Lander, which is neat.
This is a new one. I haven't heard of Lander.
And the other one here I thought was kind of cool is this called Login Kit, which is where they get into users can sign into the third party. This is the whole thing that's going to tie in Audius. And then securely through their TikTok login credentials, then they can basically start pushing video and all this kind of content directly into the platform, which I thought was amazing. Look at this list here. This is also, there's some into dining. So look at this. So you got
dating, dining, gaming.
I love the Burple.
Burple, a food discovery platform.
So anybody contributed to reviews. So you're doing something, and it literally takes it right into TikTok. So this is going to be fun to watch a lot of this stuff. Here's the thing. I'm wondering, with TikTok doing this, and you think about where TikTok is going as a company, and in general from the audio side, I'm just wondering how could they steal some thunder from things like Twitter? Remember, Twitter had Vine for a long time,
right.
and that was essentially what TikTok was.
The evolution of TikTok.
Yeah.
And also, too, Tidal, right? When you've got streaming services like that, you know, and you're starting to kind of evolve into those types of capabilities and functionalities, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
So,
my concern,
pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, I think my concern is, and not really a concern, it's a good thing, but to a certain extent, you kind of have to look at a lot of these bigger companies, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or others like that, Google, et cetera, that will go in and start copying these upstarts or do acqui-hires where they just buy it.
Right,
you know?
that's what I was thinking exactly. Yeah. But, you know, if you're
that's what they do with Instagram, you know.
If you're an audience holder, though, audience holder.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be a good thing. Yeah, I think overall. I want to jump also. So the point here is that this is a big move for Audius. It's also a big move, I think, for social media in general, for content creators. This is something we've talked about on the show before. We've had the Podcasting 2.0 guys on with Adam Curry. We talked to Posh and what she's doing with her podcast. I think this is the evolution of where sound will kind of make its way. This is going to kind of mainstream it, I think, in the sense that you've got TikTok involved.
And you know, the irony is that Audius has right now about 5 million users.
Yeah.
So this is a tremendous opportunity for them to increase their reach. And it's an exciting day, I think, for creators as well.
Yeah. I want to jump to the chart here, and then we'll go into our market update. And make sure and stick around, guys, because we are going to actually have some user questions or some viewer questions on that we're going to answer live here on the show. But sentiment, this was the kind of the track of what happened during this news release. This was Audius sentiment back here on really its new little bump high, which was on the 16th when we first started getting indicators at 49.06. Remember, Audius had been pretty flat for quite some time. 49.06, and then amplification held up at 43.07. Then we saw this nice little climb move right here. We rescored this in this little bubble or this little top end right here. 52.66, and amplification held at 51.98. Now remember, amplification and or sentiment that comes in at over 50 is a good thing. 50 is kind of the break-even point when a project is starting to show signs of life. If you have amplification or sentiment under 50, that's a declining forward indicator, and it's usually showing projects are either struggling or there's something going on with trading volume. Something's happening there that's not in the positive.
Sure.
The fact that this is clipped over now the 50-point margin, and really when you look at kind of where this is going, we've got a little bit of range here. It gets really tight right here. You can kind of follow where the chart is kind of tracking with amplification being the purple layer there. But you've got a little bit of outside the bubble. It's been kind of seeing this little bit of jump right here, which I think was this section right here that we're showing here on the chart. Here's the issue I think that we're going to have to watch out for.
That line of resistance.
Yeah, is this may be where Audius holds for a little bit. There may have some blue sky right here, but I'm always worried about this thing right here. And I talk about this a lot, is these little hooks that we see in amplification that start downward.
Right.
And amplification tells us basically that these are forward indicators. We can give you about a 7-day outlook on these before the data gets a little mushy. Unless it's a major project where we can pick up, you know, a larger data sample to kind of look at what amplification is doing. But the point being is that it's kind of moving in the right direction, a little sideways right now, but it does have some potential to maybe make a move back to its high, which was right here at $4.50 or so.
I mean, it could be a good time to buy, though.
Yeah. Well, anytime right here, I think this, again, you've got to remember how much move was in play right here. So a lot has happened right here. Remember, look at these volume buckets. This is heavy volume right in here. Lots of action in the project, and I think with the fact that you've just got TikTok in the headlines, you know, and that, of course, as you know, it's the network effect.
It's the network effect. And one thing I want to circle back to is the 1 billion users, monthly users that TikTok has.
Yeah.
So again, when you have that level of exposure, there's a lot of appetite for new ways to leverage partnerships like this. So I'm you know, cautiously optimistic about the direction Audius is moving in.
Let us know in the comments if you think we should be doing a tokenomics deep dive on Audius, if you guys think it's a project you want to go a lot deeper on. As you know, we'll go in and really do some analysis on these. One thing we are building, as a reminder, is we're trying to get to this new index model, especially for the altcoins, because there's so many projects and there's so much that really apply to both the tokenomics side of things, but also the amount of sentiment and amplification data that we're pulling in. And then you have basically the block data itself, which really, when you combine all of those things, can really give us some much deeper insights than what we've been seeing out there in the open market in terms of TA tools. So let us know in the comments below. Let's jump to the market cap real quick. Market cap holding at, wow, we were at over a 2 trillion this week. Now it looks like we've jumped up here to, or jumped down to 1.983. What's your feeling on that? Think we're going to move back over the 2 trill mark?
I mean, honestly, when Bitcoin was at its all-time high and we crossed that $2 trillion threshold, it was a really exciting day for crypto. I expected retracement and I expected profits to be taken. I think that we've seen a pretty strong, bullish indicators considering all of the things that have been happening in the marketplace, including legislation, regulation, et cetera. The crypto community has remained strong.
Very strong, yeah.
Extremely strong. So I believe that you'll continue to see a, I don't want to say a surge. I don't know if this is like a resurgence of the bull run, but I think that you're seeing a lot of diamond hands and a lot of new players coming into the market.
Yeah. Well, if you look at the Bitcoin chart here over 7 days, you know, it is going a little sideways. We did see this little bit of action right here up to 47.5, a little bit of late action in the week on the 15th at 47.7, and then we've seen this little bit of softness right here. This is something we talked about in our recent Bitcoin video, where we do anticipate a little bit of consolidation, both of people moving out of altcoins maybe into Bitcoin and Ethereum. But we anticipate we're going to see a little bit of softness before we see another major move like what we've seen into the 40K range, which is going to be kind of fun to watch, especially because that's going to really kind of ignite the bull market.
That's right. It's going to be a very interesting Q4, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I love it. It's been a good one, that's for sure. All right, so we're going to jump to a few of our viewer questions. Now you guys have a bunch of them. We'll throw them up on screen. We'll do our best. We've got a little bit of analysts on or analysis on this to help you guys out. So let's see what we've got.
Show us what you got.
All right, so we got Kevin Anderson. Hey, Paul, interested in your research regarding Polygon. Okay, and Hermes, excuse me. Let's pronounce that right.
Yes.
Merger. Curious how you think the merger will work with folks holding both currencies. I can't wait for your import. Okay, all right. So I like the project in terms of the interesting thing that I saw in this project was that they were merged. It's really the first merger of its kind in blockchain, where one blockchain is consuming another. And the valuation is essentially going to fold in too. So it's kind of like a stock or a company merger.
Yeah, that's fascinating because you haven't seen M&A activity in the crypto space. But again, I think that that's a testament to the maturation of the market.
Yeah, and I think the key here is with projects like this, it's probably going to open up some other opportunities for blockchains to, one, extend out their ability to maybe pull, and this is kind of what happens over, and we're going to talk about this later, is in Polkadot and Kusama, is you get these projects that have a lot of similarities, have some uniqueness like Hermes and what they've been trying to do, and it just becomes a natural fit for what they're looking at in terms of a merger. So it's much like mergers in real world, but would I say this is a good thing for them? I think anything that it moves in this direction is it's a good potential scenario. The only thing I always watch out for, and it's the old adage, is the first one through the door always gets bloody. So you gotta be watching for those scenarios.
What an analogy, Anna.
Always gets bloody, man. You crash down the door, you're gonna get bloody, and this is the first time. What's our next question?
All right, Nick Gintoli. He says, I sold 50% the first peak and am thinking of taking profits this peak to buy back in and around 48 to 52. And this is Axie Infinity that he's referring to. So do we think that that's a good entry point?
All right, let's take a look.
Let's bring the chart.
Yeah, let me pull up Axie real quick and see. If you look at Axie, so it's trading at 75.93 right now. If you look at the 1 month chart, this is kind of, well, let's go to the 3 month, or actually let's go to the 7 day. You can kind of see where he's talking about. So he's waiting for that drop to occur and that peak. So and we've covered Axie a couple of times here on the show. And I definitely like what the project is doing in general, just gaming in general, when you look at where both NFT and also the potential for blockchain.
And game to play to earn.
Yep. Big deal, big deal. We've covered it. So good entry point. If you think about it, of how much sideways action that have, let's go to
that's what I was noticing.
Go to the 1 month sideways. I mean, obviously, if you could get anywhere in that 42 range, you're in good shape, I believe, because this is seeing the 2 decks. The question is whether or not we see another move like right here, where Axie could continue its climb, because we're seeing these little tiers that it seems to be stair-stepping.
Yes, exactly, stair-stepping.
Yeah. So I don't know. This is one of those that I would, me personally, remember, not investment advice, but me personally, if I was playing this one, I would probably wait for this to jump back down into the mid-40s before I'd try to do a new entry on Axie.
Yeah, I can't say that I disagree with that. I mean, I don't know what news.
You're gonna have to see some retracement.
Of course. I mean, I just think that it's run up so much. I think it was something like, I don't even know how many. It was a triple-digit return within like the past month.
Yeah.
So I think it's what, 780 million in revenue they generated in the month of the last like 30 days or so.
Well, look at this thing. It was trading at in July at $8.28.
And
so
now,
right there, some Millie boys were made, Lambos were bought. Right there on Axie Infinity. And you can kind of see the movement. I mean, they got a dip right here, which brought it back down to 15. It had a little bit of sideways action. So the question is, are we at the very tippy top, as they say, or are we in a potential slide in the next move? I'm waiting on this one.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I would.
Of course, I've been wrong on this before.
I'd venture to say that I'd hold back for a bit of a retracement before I enter.
I got to take a look at Axie a little closer, because if there is some heavy action on amplification here at this level in the $75 range, I don't know. Let me get back to you on that answer, because if there is
TBD,
that could open up my mind on where this project could be going. And remember, it's still in its early days.
Right.
Axie is still in its early days, so lot of blue sky here. This could be a $300 token at some point down the road. Could you imagine that?
Yeah, I can't say that I disagree. I mean, listen, I think that play to earn is a very attractive model. We talked about it, I think, last week. Definitely watch that video if you haven't seen it yet for a deeper dive into some of the analysis we conducted. But the fact of the matter is that, this is an industry that's in its nascent. And as a result, I think that if you were to get in and ride the coattails of an Axie, you're very well positioned for the long term.
See, you're talking me back into Axie at that point.
Remember, so I have to share this story, because I was looking to get into Axie, and you need to buy a minimum of 3 Axies, which were $300 per Axie. They're $500 now.
Yeah.
Per Axie. So.
Don't hate the player. Hate
the game.
All right, let's move to our next question. This one, of course, is from our Voyager fans. All right, when you look at the fact that VGX market cap is $750 million at $3.60 a token, it's a good probability we'll see a 10x when Bitcoin hits 100 to 120K. The market cap will easily support a VGX valuation of $7.5 billion. All right, so this is something that we've talked about. We actually did a Voyager token analysis, and my thought was that the Voyager is going to get to about, I think it was $21 before the end of the year. We have another friend of the channel, if you guys have not checked out, Rob over at Digital Asset News. He's got Voyager token going up to $30, so, which is a 10x, from where it was priced in. Remember, Voyager's got a lot of projects underway. To answer your question, I would agree that if we see Bitcoin moving to that level, 120K, then of course, what we're talking about across the entire ecosystem.
A rising tide raises all ships.
Yeah, and I think with what's going to happen with Voyager, the key here is going to be one big scenario, and I know a lot of people hate this when I talk about it, is when other platforms start to steal the thunder. And what I mean by that is either trading more cryptocurrencies, I won't even say the name of the other platform, but you know who I'm talking about. If they start trading more cryptocurrency and they start viewing yields that are even similar to what Voyager is doing. Remember, right now, Voyager is kind of the only game in town. Best yields, good amount of tokens that you can get, which is a really good product.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah, and you know, it's not a Celsius, because a Celsius is a completely different product. It's not a BlockFi, because BlockFi doesn't have the tokens.
Yep.
BlockFi has a little bit less yield capacity, but they've got some other things. Remember, got to have the credit card, need that debit card, you need the loyalty program in place. A lot of things have to happen for it to go to 10x here. So
to the moon.
I'm still holding with my prediction by year end at 21 bucks.
Okay. The jury's out.
Next up.
All right, Mr. Hayes, Bob Hayes says, let's be honest, some of the privacy coins are great, but the Fed and the upcoming regulations will need transparency, not privacy.
Yeah.
He goes on to say that he can see them being accepted on a mass scale in the current states, but ultimately changes can always be made. People who have something to hide love the idea of privacy coins, and that's exactly the people that the government are after. Ha
Yeah.
ha ha. But let's get to your favorite part of the
I like that
of the
last
question,
line.
right?
Yeah.
The Paul Barron Network, best crypto channel on YouTube. Thank you, Mr. Hayes.
Yeah.
We need more people like you talking
Bob.
about the work that we're doing. Go, Bob.
I like it. All right.
But yeah, back to these privacy coins, though.
Monero, let's talk about that. So I think what you're getting at, Bob, is that if you think about privacy coins in general compared to the fiat system, this is the way I kind of explain it, because your point is a good one in the sense of a lot of people look at privacy coins as it's for the criminals, it's for people who don't want to report taxes, all those kind of things. I actually don't necessarily think that. I think it's like fiat. Fiat money is as private as you can be.
That's true.
It is the absolute ultimate private product.
Cash is not traceable.
It's untraceable. People move it around from, it's impossible to track. That ecosystem, the black market of cash, would essentially be somewhat blown up with privacy coins, because you would see transaction level, not in the sense of knowing who did it, but you'd be able to know how much is going through.
There's a digital trail.
Yeah, so that in itself, I think, for those who are just interested in, hey, listen, I don't need people in my stuff. I'm going to report my taxes. I'm going to do the due diligence that I need to do as any investment holder. This is just another tool in which I use for transacting. Same thing with fiat money.
I mean, I can't say that I disagree. But the thing is that do you see, especially with regulation coming down the pike, these privacy tokens gaining traction, or do you think that they'll be the industry will be dismantled?
That's a really good point, Lisa. Okay, so here's where I think that might be going is with privacies, you've got two things that could happen. This is going to offshore, most likely, outside the U.S. So we're talking, remember, we're a crypto channel that is a global crypto channel.
Right.
We have a lot of audience in the UK, Australia, Southeast Asia. We've had people in the Middle East. India is a big market for us on our channel. There's a lot of activity in these other emerging markets that are moving toward privacy coins, and just because what that could represent in terms of people traveling abroad. So that is going to be a big factor. Now, will the government, meaning U.S. government, start to target into this? I think a lot of people will migrate to these stable coins or these government fed coins when they come. The question will be those, you could be right, Bob, in the sense it could separate the criminals further and start to isolate them, which could be a bad thing just by association if you're out there dealing with privacy coins a lot. However, there are some places down here in the Caribbean that you can go out and pretty much run your entire day on Monero. Which is kind of cool. I mean, if you've got it, you can transfer it in. You don't need, you don't have your credit card being over there exposed, which is a big problem.
Very true.
Getting jacked and privacy is no longer yours because you use your credit card on an island.
Exactly right. So, I mean, there's definitely a use case. There's definitely utility. It just remains to be seen how, on a global scale, whether or not these emerging markets will adopt it at a rate that regulation will not stymie the growth of the industry.
Yeah. There's some other things too that I don't want to get into it, but there are some other things around it that, some organizations need to utilize that kind of anonymity. And listen, it's worked on the internet for over 2 decades. We've seen a growth of it. So I think there's some relative awareness, but you're right. It's a sticky subject, not completely vetted out here yet, but I'm still a pro on where privacy coins are going to go. Yeah.
All right.
All right, let's keep going. Next up.
What else we got?
All right, so he's talking about algo here and Link, Chainlink. Okay, I like the fundamentals. I just cannot understand why they do not reflect it in price. All right, this is something that we've talked about before on the channel. Is some of these projects do not take off. Algorand is a very good example of this. The tokenomics behind Algorand are very solid. You have to remember though, Algorand is a very young project. It's a baby.
It's a baby. Patience is a virtue.
Yeah, and I always love the statement, when you think about the project leads, remember, just like any other business, who do you follow and who do you invest in? You invest in the founders.
That's right.
If you think
about
that.
Who's the team behind it?
Oh, well, let's talk about that.
All right, let's go.
That's a Turing Award winner, MIT computer sciences guy. We've had some of their people on our show. But when you look at what Macaulay over there, Silvio Macaulay, I believe is the guy, this is probably, I would put him in the top 10 technology minds in the world.
Wow.
So with
you heard it here first.
Yeah, with that alone, Algorand, I know it's a slow mover, but it's still a young baby.
So they're not even out of the chute.
Tokenomics very solid. Project is very solid. Transaction speed, they've definitely got a completely different look.
Your algo long.
I like it. I like it. And
okay.
hey, full disclosure, I hold Algorand, so I'm not hating on it. Remember, not investment advice. You need to go do your homework.
Go do your due diligence. I am not a holder, but it's something now that you brought.
You got to go look at it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do some.
And they've got a lot of interesting partnerships too coming up. All right, so any other questions we got coming? Okay. Insight on Shiba. Okay, I like it. It's very interesting. It actually, I think, is the Doge killer.
Oh, wow.
I know you guys are going to hate me for that. The Doge community is going to come up in my stuff.
The comments are going to be on fire.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there's something there. I just don't know what it is yet. I got to do more tokenomics on where they're going with this thing. But
Shiba Inu.
But Shiba. Hey, listen. Remember what Vitalik did? He burned a bunch of that.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's some things happening with Shiba. So possibility. We haven't done a project or a coin or a tokenomics discovery video on that one. So maybe that one's coming. Next up.
What do we got? I really love if you guys discuss the development of gaming and social crypto projects. Okay, Bishop.
We're gonna get on it. Yeah. Well, we've had Axie.
Yes.
So that's been one. But there's several projects out there in the gaming community, and definitely, and I hear it all the time here in the studio, this is the future of gaming. It's going to be blockchain. So you're right. You're right, guys.
I just love the fact that there's the play to earn. I mean, I just think that in and of itself is going to get so many new users, so many new so much more adoption.
Yeah. Keep it rolling. Next up.
What else we got? Only 4.5. Is ETH a joke to you?
All right. No, guys, I'm not hating on ETH, but I have to have reality. One thing you will not hear on this channel is we are not moon people. All right. We won't give you a bunch of false hope. We're going to go off of what we look at in terms of the tokenomics. The
data drives the decisions.
And where we see the sentiment layers come in. Because remember, this is less technical analysis. And there's many people that talk about TA a lot on crypto. And it's not, listen, there's some good channels out there that go TA. And I love what they're doing. Ours is not a TA. It is not a technical analysis. It's a pure data analysis. Much like trading volume is a pure data analysis, blockchain data sets, pure trading analysis. Technical analysis is looking at charts and historical movement. And that's something that we won't do. And ETH is one of these that I'm a little bit neutral on. It's emerging to be my largest holding. So I'm still a little neutral, but I'm also bullish that this thing is going to break out big time.
And listen, I've been a champion of ETH for some time. As I said, disclaimer, I'm not a maximalist, but I do see the utility of the ETH blockchain. I think that with the London hard fork, and then also the transition to the proof of stake. There's a lot of interesting things happening, but do I think that that will reflect in the price in the short term? Not necessarily.
Yeah. I know everybody wants to go to 20K by the end of the year. I can't give you that kind of.
I'm a little more tempered.
Expectation. Listen, if it does, something has happened big time. There has been seismic movement in the crypto space, and that's a good thing if it goes there. I am glad I'm letting you down in the sense that I'm not building up too many.
We're managing expectations.
False hopes there. Anything else we got over there, guys?
I'm a newbie.
Polkadot.
Talk to me.
You like that one?
I mean.
You own it?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I do not. So I am not the most well-versed on Polkadot, full disclosure.
Dot is a good project. It's one of those, I think, that separates from the pack. It's got some future, and its relationship to Kusama, which we're going to do a coin on, a tokenomics on, and what they're doing in terms of parachains. You guys should go do your research on this one. This is one of those projects that goes very deep, and it can be very wide-reaching in terms of what its opportunity is in terms of Web 3.0. So if I wasn't a Polkadot holder already, I would be buying Polkadot now because it's going to come along in, I think, the altcoin season.
Oh, so it's a good time to buy.
Yeah. All right, next up.
Buying Coke with Miami coin.
There you go. I don't know if he's talking about Coca-Cola or... But all right.
I don't know how to answer that question.
This is where...
That's fair.
Yeah. Well, let's just move off that
All right. Solana will never replace ETH. Is that so? Plus, existing platforms keep getting better too. Okay, that's an interesting take. So clearly, this person is leaning towards ETH, and I think that there could be more players in the space. You know, with the enablement on the Solana side of smart contracts, I think that you're going to start to see some more competition and potentially some migration over to Solana. Another thing I have to say is that Solana already operates on a proof of stake. Platform. So folks that are excited about environmentally sound projects, environmentally sound initiatives, I could see that also contributing to Solana's uptick.
Yeah. And listen, Ethan, I know a lot of people say Solana is the ETH killer. The
That's
scenario.
Aggressive.
It is. But here's the thing. You do have some scenarios. Solana's trades at about 25 cents a transaction. That's a much better deal. You're also looking at total transactions for Solana just dwarfing what's happening in Ethereum. But when Ethereum 2.0 rolls out, I know that's still a ways down the road. Now we've got a little bit better and more even playing field. However, Solana hasn't completely rolled out many of the projects they're trying to do. So
very true.
That in itself kind of plays back. I think it's still very early before these two, but these guys are going to be
like direct competitors.
Yeah, these guys are going to be titans. At one point, they're going to go head to head.
Yeah. Not there yet. Not there yet. But this could be a good time to look into Solana.
Well, right now it's been going like crazy. If I could get it a little cheaper, I'd jump on Solana.
But if you're long Solana.
Oh yeah, if you've been in early, guys, hold. You know, for sure. I mean, if I was not financial advice, I'd be holding Solana right now, which I do. I hold Solana, and that's one of those. I'm a big proponent of where they're going with that project. Anyway. I think that wraps it up, doesn't it, guys? Anything
All right,
else?
this lightning round is done.
Whew, man, that was amazing. All right, so the idea behind this, of course, if you're listening over on the podcast, is just give some stars over there. You can actually put in your comments over there. We read them there too.
And if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. We want to make sure that you know what's going on. You keep watching, you keep learning, you shall keep earning.
Yeah.
So be sure to also comment if there are any coins that you want us to do an analysis on, if there's any news, anything that you heard that was just mind-blowing, let us know. We want to hear from you.
I love it. All right, you guys reach out to me. Hit me up on Twitter @PaulBaron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.